I was booking Jamie Jones for 500 quid. Booked everyone from like Claude Von Stroke to Coxie to Sasha to Leon Bushwhacker. Everyone.
When did dance music enter your life?
I can tell you exactly. It was 1994, and my big sister bought me for Christmas Smash Hits 1994 tape. There was the Prodigy No Good, Start the Dance on there. So my birthday's in March. My dad bought me the Prodigy Experience on CD.
Wow. Yeah.
And then that was it. I was going out from 15 to the Empire. I was sneaking in there. I got my decks when I was 13. I started playing Raving, Happy Hardcore. I got on the decks. He saw something in me. He put me in a Northern Technics DMC one that was in Manchester. So I did that, won that one. So that kind of gave me a first little leg off. I moved down to Leeds a year later. I literally finished my last presentation, walked out, and I had a phone call off Ralph Lawson, and he said, "Can you come and meet us on Monday? We've got a job offer for you." And they offered me the job doing the bookings because I'd already been doing it. So then I started.
For Basic?
Yeah.
You know,
so then I used to
do, right, innit?
Yeah. So then I used to, I worked in the office doing all the bookings because it was a weekly party then. But I remember being an after party in Leeds, and I was with Jamie and Rob James, and Jamie's saying, I'm starting a label. So yeah, so I was associated to that, and then did a track called Ultraviolet, which came out, and that just blew up. And then it was like internationally, it just went poof. Where one week I'd be in Russia, then I'd be in Miami, then I'd be in, it was literally dying.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh mate, I love it. It's my happiest time is when I'm touring. I just love it, and I don't take a minute of it for granted.
Where's Denney from?
It's my surname.
Is that actually your surname?
Yeah, it's actually my surname. Yeah. So
God, that was stupid,
it's just stuck since school.
I just thought it was a nickname.
No, it's not. It's just
that's your. So you've been called your surname all your life. How annoying.
Yeah, honestly, they used to ring the house phone and just say, "Can I speak to Denney?" And my dad would be like, "Which one?"
I suppose it's quite a unique surname.
Yeah, it's Irish apparently. So the spelling of it, because it's got two E's in it.
I've had to check the spelling a few times.
Yeah, I know. It's a running joke with my mates. There's always two E's in Denney.
I bet you have problems with flyers, artists.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? It was constantly when I started out. It was always, it's been getting spelt wrong my whole life. But it's people seem to. Yeah, it's only taken 25 years, but people seem to be spelling
I've seen the most crazy spelling mistakes. Slipmat is the one. There's always one T.
Yeah.
Or things like that. And he's like, I've been around for like a long time now. And and between you and me, I think the guys at Nightlife in Ibiza used to do it on purpose.
Right, okay.
You remember Nightlife, don't you?
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah.
We used to play there every Wednesday. And I think Alex Ellinger and Dermot, they used to do it just for a wind-up.
Damien Lazarus always used to get his name spelt wrong. It was always like Damien spelt wrong or Lazarus was spelt wrong.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you could do that as well. Now, Adele has the same problem because that's like Adele. And that's why everyone calls it Adele with an E.
Yeah.
Which has even got some more connotations towards it. So you grew up in Yarm.
I did. Yeah. I did. My mum's Australian. My dad's from Middlesbrough originally. He lived in Australia for many years. I was born here. And then we moved back to Australia, to Perth, when I was really young, like 2. And then we moved back here. I was about 2 or 3, and then lived in Ripon, actually, in North Yorkshire, and then moved to Yarm. And just grew up there. That was kind of that's home, really. I can't remember Australia or.
Do you have the Aussie citizenship?
I do. I've got an Aussie passport. Yeah.
My grandma is from Sydney.
Right.
And we never looked into it when I was younger.
Yeah, I've got. It's funny actually. My sister's got 3 kids, and we were talking about it the other day because she's trying to get them passports, but it's quite difficult because you need to have lived there for 2 years.
And when I remember looking into it when I was a bit younger, you had to be a certain age, I think.
Yeah,
before you applied for it.
It's mad. That's the one thing my dad got us them straight away. So I've had it my whole life.
my friends are always saying, "Why haven't you got like a Australian passport and all
Yeah.
that?" And I'm just like, "Well, never even been there." What? So when did dance music enter your life?
I can tell you exactly. It was 1994, and so I was 10 years old. My big sister bought me for Christmas Smash Hits 1994 tape,
I remember.
double cassette, and on I think it was tape 2. There was the Prodigy No Good Start the Dance on there. And I listened to that track over and over and over and over. I just like, it was, you know, where you just like rewind the tape, play it, rewind the tape. So then for my birthday's in March, my dad bought me the Prodigy Experience on CD.
Wow. Yeah.
And then that was it. That was it. 10 years old. That was what I was into. Before that,
they've got a
Michael
lot to answer
Jackson.
for those guys.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson as well.
That was it. I loved Bad.
Me too.
So that
over
was
and over again. Yeah.
I just went from Michael Jackson, and then when I got that Smash Hits, it just went straight into the Prodigy.
Michael Jackson, Prodigy. Through this podcast, I've got a lot to answer for because they've always been brought up. How do you get into music? Prodigy, Michael Jackson, Prince.
Yeah,
things like that. But yeah, I was addicted to that Bad album.
Yeah, and, it was just because I never. That was the era, you know. I was born in '84. That came out, I think it was 88, wasn't it? Bad came out. And then, obviously having an older sister, it was kind of handed down. She was really into Madonna.
Yeah.
And then, she gave me Bad, and I was just like, loved it.
It was a great era for music.
It was amazing.
You know, I mean, when I look back now and just think of all the bands and some of the superstars, and now look at it now, and I'm just like, it's so different.
Yeah,
it's really
I don't
weird.
think you get that level of superstar now. I don't know. Obviously, lots of different things, social media, technology. Back then, obviously, they were put on pedestals. Like you had to have you saw them in magazines. That's why you see all these concerts where everyone was fainting, wasn't it? Because they couldn't believe they were real. It was like with social media, I think people can connect.
See them
all
you
can
the
see
time.
them all the time. Whereas then it was like it was just this kind of fictional person. But when you actually saw them, that's why I think.
Well, we had 4 TV channels.
Yeah.
And if you were famous on TV, you were famous.
Well, that's why Top of the Pops was so important, wasn't it?
Exactly. And now then Sky come along and everything started broadening out and streaming and that's why if you look at the amount of people trying to break through as artists now, it's just so difficult. Whereas before we used to do mix vinyl as a hobby.
Yeah.
An after party, a little bit off your nut, as we all did for fun. Now it's not that. A lot of it is because people want to be seen as doing that particular
it's like it is. It does make me laugh where it's like vinyl only set, and it's just like this was it. That's what we used to do.
Yeah, I know. So with I saw Dave Clark, the techno DJ.
Yeah.
An article, I don't know whether you read it last week. He was just like, I'm so not sure about the DJing. It's like, I'm embarrassed to be a DJ at some points because...
it's not... It's just a funny old thing. Like, I saw a video the other day of some... I don't know who it was, some girl playing at a massive festival.
I saw it.
Yeah, and she was just dancing crazy.
I'll put it over the top of this.
It was... and I saw that and I was like, what the fuck?
I thought it was parody.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it is in a way.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was though.
Yeah, I don't. It's just a very different game, and it did. I'm sure we'll go into it, but I kind of tried to play that game a little bit. Not that I was doing backflips on stage, but obviously as the scene was changing, I was trying to navigate with it. And now I'm just like, do you know what? This is not what I got into, I'm even funny playing on the big stages and, that kind of thing. I was always a club DJ. That's what I grew up with. So it's a very different beast. And I've been lucky enough to do both, but I just, I just live in my own reality now. And I find it's just so much happier.
do your own thing.
That's just stay in your own lane. Just do what you like, and it doesn't really matter as long as you're enjoying it and happy. There's still great music out there. There's still great events out there. it's very easy for us to look through with rose-tinted glasses, but, the generation before us, they were doing it as well. So it's, I'm sure 18 years old now, they're having the times of their life. So.
Absolutely. I think, obviously, you're very good friends with Nick Ferguson.
Yes, absolutely.
Where did you meet him? In Ibiza?
We met in Leeds through Riley and Durant, I believe.
Okay.
Nick and Andy, I will have eternal love for those guys. They really supported me from like the off, from when I was like 17, getting me on their radio show and stuff. And they introduced me. They were doing something with Nick, and then I played my first super club, which was Privilege, because he was doing Tiesto
in the back room.
And I played I played the back room for him. And it was funny because I was actually I was the closest DJ to ever nearly play Manumission. So the first super club I was meant to play was Manumission. And I flew there, got picked up, got in the hotel, had dinner, got taken to the club, and it was the gig where Privilege locked out Manumission.
Yeah.
So we were all stood out. There was me there. I think there was Zane Lowe. Like, we were all in the car park, all the dancers, everyone was there.
What a bizarre night that was.
It was so weird, man. So I still managed to play Privilege as my first club, but it was for Nick. And then he did events in Leeds, and it's funny because our paths have kind of crossed and like gone like this, but I'll always love Nick Ferguson. He's a great guy, and he doesn't age either.
No, he doesn't. I was literally speaking to him 10 minutes ago. I said I was about to speak to you, and he goes, "Oh, wicked." But we always say, let's just there's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise going on in the industry.
Absolutely.
And just stay in your own lane. Just focus on what you're doing. Avoid the shit. Don't put up with the bullshit. Tell them how it is, and just concentrate on your own thing. Because as soon as you start getting distracted by the circus,
that's what it is. Yeah. And and once you get like various people saying you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. If you've kind of got if I've had a few managers where we've had very different views, whereas a manager, you should be working together and going in the same direction. So it's like, I've had managers pulling me, so you should be doing this, you should be doing that, because I'd had some success which kind of crossed over unintentionally commercially. I made a track that went from the underground into the actual charts.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was like, you need to be playing all these lineups, like commercial lineups, but I want to keep playing the more underground stuff. So it gets very confusing, and then you kind of don't know what's right and stuff. So I just say, listen to your gut instinct.
Absolutely. This is the one thing I say to everybody. Does it feel right in your stomach?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Is there are you excited about something, or are you nervous? There's something not right. And I think this is a huge thing for the music industry, where you've got to listen to your gut. If it don't feel right, don't do it.
Exactly.
And you know what? Me and Nick still sometimes go against that. We did it. We have done a couple of times, maybe in the last 2 or 3 years. And our gut always proved us right. We should have made that. We should have gone with it.
Listen to your intuition.
But sometimes you just think, I think it's not ego. You just think the passion takes over.
Yeah, it is. And it's a lot of it comes with experience. I've been doing this since I was 17. So I've been in this
I was about
industry.
to say that, actually. Sugar Shack.
So I started...
what a name that is. That's an iconic name. Were there a couple of Sugar Shacks, or was it?
No, I think that was, as far as I know, it's the only one. But I think a Sugar Shack was a Sugar Shack is like after work where people would go. I'm not sure if it was an island or something like that. It was where they would go and like let off their hair. I think that's what a definition of a Sugar Shack was.
I've heard it before in other places, but I know there was a nightclub called Sugar
Shack. So it was the Empire in Middlesbrough, and then the flagship night was the Sugar Shack, and that was, there were so many pockets back then, and like these regional bangers, the nightclubs, and it was like that club had everyone. It was an old theatre. It very much like Coco in Camden.
Yes.
And old theatre. Every week there was queues round the block, 2,000 people every week. it would go Carl Cox one week, to Eric Murillo, to Roger Sanchez, to who else? Sasha, Digweed, like all the names. Jules. They did quite a few Radio 1 live broadcasts from there. And I used to play in the upstairs room in the Voodoo Lounge. So yeah, it was Wembley for me. It was my education there. So I was very lucky.
I've just been, before you popped on, I've just found some Clubbervision footage of Sugar Shack.
Yeah.
I speak with the guys at Clubbervision, so I'll overlay it. Obviously, I'll credit the guys because they were, now looking back, Clubbervision were the historians, weren't they?
Absolutely,
because most of the stuff, I think there was Rapture and things like that.
Rapture as well.
But I found some Sugar Shack footage
amazing
at the Emporium, so I'll overlay that as well. So where did you go from there?
So then basically at the same time I was well, I actually started when I was 16, so I'll have to go back a year. So I was going out from 15 to the Empire. I was sneaking in there. And then one night when I was 16, we went back to an after party at this guy's house who was a promoter for a club in Sheffield called Sunday Mass. And that was on the Sunday after Gatecrasher. Then you go to Insomniacs, then go to the Howard. Then right at the end, there was Sunday Mass at the Europa, which was just basically over the road from Gatecrasher. So we went back to his house for a party. I got on the decks. He saw something in me and then he said, look, I kind of want to, I guess, manage me in a way. He said, want to help you. So he put me in competitions. He put me in a Northern Technics DMC one that was in Manchester because they had the Technics DJ Academy there. Eddie Halliwell went there. So I did that, won that one, which was actually held at Good Grief at Phillips Park Hall.
Okay.
So that got me in with Barry and Ben from Good Grief.
Yes.
And then he entered me another one at Plaza at Earl's Court, which was like where they used to break and show it was like a showcase place for all the new technology, the DJ stuff. It was like they did a competition. I came third in the country there. So that kind of gave me a first little leg up. And then he started getting me little gigs around. So I did that, then went into the Sugar Shack because that was, I went to school with Ollie, who was the resident DJ there, and he rang me up on a Friday and said, look, a DJ's dropped out. Can you come and do the Voodoo Lounge? And that's how that started. It was just by chance. And then off the back of the competitions, I started playing at Manchester for Barry and Ben quite a lot, Phillips Park Hall.
What were you playing? What music were you playing?
House. So I was in the house room.
So you weren't playing the hard stuff, no?
I wasn't hard. My whole DJ career has been based around house music, but the early days I was playing Good Grief. They gave me a residency at Tall Trees in the house room. I played Gatecrasher upstairs in the house room. Sunday Essential. I know you had Madders on the other week. Yeah, I've played there at Evolution in Leeds. And then it was just, I was just playing around, like played London. And I just started getting gigs around doing that.
And did it become a profession?
Yeah, so it was
pretty
I was
quickly,
doing college, so I was doing college at the same time doing music production. And they were kind of going in tandem. And then off the back, I did a New Year's Day gig in Newcastle for Good Grief and Do you remember Promise?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, there was a foundation. And I played with Gavin Herlihy from Mixmag. And then he put me forward for the Mixmag Future Heroes, which was kind of a big deal.
Wow, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that gave me that. And then I was the youngest Mixmag Future Hero. And that's when stuff really started. Because obviously the press then was like that. Yeah. It was a different thing. Like if you got in Mixmag and stuff like that, it really opened you up. So
I mean, look at the people like Lashes and all that lot. And
yeah, exactly.
They were like front page of DJ Mag and Mixmag. And
that's it.
And it's just like.
And it's like, obviously, because I was a resident at Good Grief, we had Eddie, and I just like firsthand watched his trajectory when he took off Eddie Halliwell. Nick Fanciulli was one, so that's how I met Nick. There was, who else was it? Fergie?
Yeah.
That was one. So, yeah.
With the DMC stuff, was that scratching?
So I used to scratch. So I originally, after I got into the Prodigy, I got my decks when I was 13. I started playing rave and happy hardcore.
Okay.
So I was like obsessed with Hixie and Psy and,
Hype,
just all the scratching. So I used to do that.
Yeah.
But when I started playing, I did used to like scratch a bit over there. So there was a little bit, so I'd like look at Roger Sanchez, how he was layering DJ tools and acapellas, but then I would like bring in a little bit of scratching as well. It was quite weird how I'd do it. But yeah, there was kind of a mixture of that.
Because so obviously you're very technical, because to win those sort of things, it is a technical.
Do you know what I was then? I'm probably less technical now than I am.
Is it easy to take those skills over to the modern equipment?
Yeah, I mean the equipment's actually easier. You can hit where you were trying to catch it, and then the needle would be flying, because you used to put like a 2p or a 10p piece on the needle, so it stopped.
And they still skated.
And it's yeah. And but you've got like the effects units now that can kind of, when you're doing like crabbing on the crossfader, it can just chop it now. So it's like you can just literally hit it, so it's going and then you just kind of set a loop up on the CDJ. So it's slightly easy. But that being said, when you still watch someone like James Zabila do it, who's he's amazing.
I've got the RX3 back there, and
yeah,
it's been fun learning, and but I was a bit disappointed when I realised how simple it was. Now I've got to admit, I was just like, oh, okay, because I love my vinyl, and I learned for years on that, and then I got this because I thought, I'll join the club, and then when I started playing around with, and I was just like, oh, everything that was made difficult before was being made easy with a button.
Yeah. Well, this is why DJing's become a little bit of a, what we were saying, a parody. It's, anyone can do it.
Technology.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't, you see Kerry Katona doing a DJ set, things are a bit crazy.
What I find bizarre is, obviously when we were young and we were learning to mix, it was all about beat matching, and keeping that in mind. And if the record was slipping on your Sound Labs, those were the best things to learn on.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, I had those, the DLP 1600s. Whereas the pitch control was at the bottom, wasn't it? And it only went to +6.
And you were just like, and then the elastic.
Yeah. But if you could mix on those, you could mix on anything.
Exactly. And now and then you see people I've seen like on TikToks, some of the DJs covering the BPMs, and they're saying, look, I'm beat matching by ear.
Yeah.
And they're making a video look as if it's like different.
Yeah.
What? It's because everybody's using the syncs and the BPM counters and all of that, but the actual skill of beat matching is kind of like gone by the wayside, I suppose, a little bit.
Yeah, it's just it's just a different time, I think it's a funny one, because with the sync thing, I get it. Like I went and saw Denney last week. Like, he's a good friend of mine, and the way he DJs on his laptop, but is so insanely creative having it synced. Like, he's just got loops, but he'll have like, he might have 4 decks going where he's got like a tribal loop going. He's got the actual track playing, and then he's got like, he'll drop acapellas, but he'll drop like, those kind of effects, like thunder effects, like all that kind of thing. But then what he's also done is he's sampled his vinyl collection. Must have taken him hours, like days and days. And he's just got little like 4 8-bar loops. And what he'll do is he'll pan one to the like left, one to the right. So he might have a conga going left and right. So he's just like, he's basically remixing on the fly all the time. And it's like, when you get in like that, I think it's, that's super creative.
I suppose that's what the benefits of the sync button are. But
100%.
Everyone focuses on it's the cheat button. But to be honest, if it's used correctly,
exactly,
it can be incredibly creative. Absolutely. As well. And I suppose that's the trick that people are missing. Yeah. Because they never get to that level of creative. When I was speaking with Kissy to Funk, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Kissy Sellout.
Yeah.
Kissy to Funk.
Kissy to Funk. I used to play for them too.
Another Leeds one, isn't it? Yeah. I've repeated this before on a previous podcast, but he was saying to me, because he's a very technical DJ as well, and he was saying that he always made sure he read the manual of any equipment and knew exactly the capabilities of the equipment, because most people don't touch the surface. They don't go deep. Like a lot of these bits of kit out there are really deep, you know, in their capabilities, but a lot of people only ever touch the surface of it. But if you really go, and I was with Satek the other day, I'm talking about hardware, and he's like, some of the stuff, his equipment hasn't really changed that much over the years because he's had to learn so much of it and what it can do and how it can integrate with this and that. And it might change one bit of kit every 4 or 5 years, but it's generally the same stuff because it's so complicated. And he's learned the tools, you know, and he's not a what do they call it, I had an expression for it, gear acquisition syndrome, gas.
Have you
heard that?
I haven't heard it, but I like it.
He goes, there's an expression in our world, in live world, called gas, gear acquisition syndrome. He goes, he doesn't suffer from that where people just buy loads of gear, only ever touch a surface and never really learn
all the gear, no idea.
Let me ask you, I've always seen you being attached to like Dave Beer, associated with Dave Beer and Back to Basics. How did that happen? He's a legend. He's an absolute legend, obviously.
This is another mad story. So I ended up warming up for Fatboy Slim in 2000, same year as the Mixmag, actually, 2004. He brought an album out called Circoloco. And I ended up warming up for him on that tour. He did a university tour. So we did Leeds, the refectory, and he used to take the piss out of me saying, you look a bit like Dave Beer, because I'd probably look similar hairstyle to this and stuff. And he said, he's going to be down in a minute. So I actually got introduced to Beero through Fatboy Slim. And then I hung out with Dave. I played, and then I remember we were overlooking the balcony, and it amazes me always. I always say this because Dave came in like the force of nature he is, and I'd never seen it before. And I was watching it, and he rolled a spliff with one hand, and I'd never seen that. And he'd like managed to do it. He had a bottle of beer, and he was just like doing that, and just rolled a spliff with one hand. And I was like, I'd never seen that before.
I've never seen that.
I was like, what the fuck? So anyway, so then I ended up standing on the balcony. We were talking, and he just basically said, do you want to come down to the club? I'd gone to Basics quite a bit anyway, because my mate had moved to Leeds and I'd been going since it was a Mint club. Anyway, got down there and then just really got to know everyone. I moved down to Leeds a year later in 2005. And then, I was running my own party in Middlesbrough from 2005, actually. Called Future, and we ran it, and it was basically a monthly party that because I was going to Basics so much, I was seeing all these great DJs, and in Middlesbrough obviously it was a little bit behind, so I started bringing these DJs that I was seeing in Leeds up to Middlesbrough, and they came and played for me, along with all the Basics guys like Ralph Lawson, Buckley, Paul Woolford, all those guys. And then on my last day at uni, so I moved down 2005 to do music technology at uni. I thought, how can I get to Leeds? And I was like, I know what, I'll do that, because I'd done well at college, did music production. I'd literally finished my last course, like I'd done my last presentation, walked out, and I had a phone call off Ralph Lawson, and he said, can you come and meet us on Monday? We've got a job offer for you. So it was like the universe just kind of, it was crazy how that aligned. And then I went and met him and Dave at Dave's house, and they offered me the job doing the bookings because I'd already been doing it. So then I started.
For Basic?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So then I used to
That's right, innit?
Yeah. So then I used to, I worked in the office doing all the bookings because it was a weekly party then.
Yeah.
And then that led to playing the back room, which then led to playing the main room, which then I then left the office job, pursued the production, because that kind of took off for me, and then and then was official resident.
But doing the bookings and meeting, it just opens your black book, doesn't it?
Well, that was it. It was like, it was the best, I was booking Jamie Jones for 500 quid.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So Jamie was unknown. Oh God, there was like booked everyone from like Claude Von Stroke to Coxie to Sasha to Leon Bushwhacker. Everyone.
And having those contacts back then, it was just so important.
Well, that's the way it was. It was a different time because you did actually do a lot of work, but in the back rooms. That I suppose, like, you know, you made a lot of contacts. You would shoot the shit, and then you would catch up with people in the week, and it was like, oh yeah, that idea. Let's talk about that. You know, a lot of ideas were born in back rooms of clubs, and I think there's something about that. I mean, that doesn't just work for music. I think it definitely works within creativity, like, you know, fashion, things like that. There was all these hubs where creatives would come and hang out. You know, there was artists there and people in bands, actors, stuff like that. So many people come through the club.
I compare the fashion industry to the music industry quite a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of crossover there.
And I think I was actually having this conversation yesterday with someone. The crossover is even more so now.
Yeah.
Because of the TikTok generation, Instagram, and it being so visual, videos, fashion, you know, and it's all crossed over. So you become an essential part of Basics. How old were you then?
So I joined Basics in 2008. Let me just work this out. How old am I now? So I would have been like early 20s.
It's mental. What an opportunity. I mean, what a leg up that is.
Oh, I know, it was crazy, and it was like, yeah, it's just, I feel like the universe is kind of, I mean, I've put myself out there as well, you know, but I feel like there's been a lot of things where the universe is kind of aligned, and it's been like one thing's led to another, you know. It's all these kind of sliding doors moments, like doing the Fatboy Slim, meeting Biro, doing all, you know, it was like all these little stepping stones.
And the networking. I mean, I did the vast majority of my networking in my years in Ibiza, because it was just non-stop. Everyone was over there. It was a great era for Ibiza.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I went raving, I was a bit more insular. I just went there to get off my nut and dance, you know, and I wasn't really a networker as such then. I'd much prefer to be partying. But when I went to Ibiza, you would be partying, but then you'd be having dinner with them and lunch and chilling out with them in the West End and bumping into them at Coastline and stuff like that. And then then your black book starts opening up, and then when you start doing a lot of years in Ibiza, all of a sudden you feel the industry is rather small.
It's very much so, and it's
And did you feel like it was a really tight-knit underground network?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being associated to Basics, it kind of gave you a bit of a stamp of approval, I guess, within the industry, because they, you know, it was always known for being forward-thinking house music, kind of at the forefront of kind of what was cool. I mean, their tagline was 2 steps further than any other fucker. That's what, you know, it's a pretty cocky tagline to have.
Yeah.
And, you know, they had all the branding with the, you know, the Jamie Reed, the Sex Pistols type branding and all the flyers. And obviously Dave, you know, the stories that went with him, these kind of Keith Richard-esque type stories that was all in the 90s and early noughties. And that kind of behavior was celebrated, you know, all these crazy stories where you'd have like him and Charlie Chester. And
yeah, there's another name I was about to bring up. You know Charlie?
He's very, very, he's like family to me, Charlie.
Yeah, I've often seen you two talking on socials and stuff.
We don't. It normally all it normally tends to be is he'll just call me silly bollocks.
Yeah. Taking the piss.
That's all we do. Yeah.
So how did you meet Charlie?
Through Dave.
Through Dave.
So through Dave, the Basics connection. So to be honest with you, probably a lot of these questions, when you ask who's the connection, it'll be through Basics, like Jamie Jones, Damien Lazarus, Leon Bushwhacker, all these guys. Yeah.
And then obviously Miss Joe Mills.
Yeah, Millsy.
Yeah. Another Dave,
as she's known.
Yeah. I've seen Dave come out a few times around Joe. I love Joe. I think she's great. I've followed Joe ever since her original Circoloco days, and when she was diving off the DJ booth into the crowd, and she hasn't changed a bit. And they're still doing some really good stuff.
Oh, they're great. It's I speak to Charlie a lot. But he's, like I said, they're just like family. I call them like my Ibiza mom and dad, because they're like, I've known them since I was a kid. Basically, I was so young when I met them, and they've always been, you know, so lovely. But yeah, we're just good mates with him, you
I've
know.
always wondered where the connection was there.
Yeah.
Now, if I could just break the conversation, I've got this thing here called the mascara story. What's that all about?
So that's...
Is there anything you want to discuss?
I'll tell you the story. Dave, when you're working with Biro, right, on a daily basis, there's so many stories that have happened, like ridiculous situations you've got yourself in, you know, from a load of taxi drivers nearly beating us up after a night with him and Howard Marks, like about 20 taxi drivers, because our other mate Buckley pretended a taxi drove on his foot. Then a taxi drove forward, actually went on his foot. He's banging on the window. The taxi hits a panic alarm. And next thing you know, we're nearly getting beaten up by all these taxi drivers. Ending up in back rooms with, like, I won't say who, but well-known pop stars just like stripping naked in front of us all, like in front of a room full of people, just leathers.
You couldn't do it nowadays, could you?
Nah, it's just crazy. But yeah, the mascara story is Dave was seeing his girlfriend at the time, who was a bit younger than him. And he was like, we went into Headingley and he goes, I just need to nip in at Superdrug. And I was outside on the phone, like just in the doorway. And all I hear is, Denney, like that. And I look and he just literally chucks a mascara from the back of the shop. And it goes obviously through the security things. And I didn't know what it was. And I just caught it. So then obviously, basically it ended up with me and Dave getting banned out. It was either Boots or Superdrug on Headingley High Street because he just basically threw a mascara at me out the shop.
It must be written somewhere because that was pulled out from ChatGPT.
God, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because I know generally what to ask people, but AI is so great now that you can.
I mean, that's scary because that's a not well-known story, but
you
can
do a deep research.
Absolutely.
On ChatGPT.
I wonder if I said that on an interview or something.
It pulled it out. It's pulled it from somewhere.
It must have done.
Yeah, because I knew nothing of that, and that's why I've asked you: is the mascara story actually true? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yes, it is true. Basically, me and Dave Beer got banned out of a shop because he threw a mascara, just jokingly trying to shoplift it.
No, AI is scary stuff. But I tell you what, I've got some
mad.
Good questions out of it, and it's just
right.
It is also very crazy what's in the public domain.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It's just like you would have thought that was anywhere, would you?
I know that's well dug out of somewhere.
yeah. Because you've got your general, like your normal ChatGPT, and you can do it on Claude as well. But then you can do a deep research where it takes a couple of hours,
right?
And it goes through everything, you know. And then all of a sudden, it will just throw out 50 questions, like try these, and it's just like
amazing.
What the fuck? It's a drop down. You press deep research, ask it the question, and it doesn't just take a few seconds. It takes maybe an hour sometimes, or overnight, or whatever. It depends what you ask. Now, the breakthrough era, Hot Creations.
Yes.
Now, I know you for this era. I remember your stuff. Hot Creations popped, didn't it? It just went. Tell me about it. How did that all happen?
So I was even there when I remember being an after party in Leeds, and I was with Jamie and Rob James, and we were all just in this after party, and Jamie's saying, I'm starting a label. And then he said, I've signed his track, and it was one of Rob's tracks and it was a really crazy time looking back, because it was like the creative people that we were all just hanging out as mates, but there was such a core of people that would come to. There's like Rob James, Miguel Campbell, Laura Jones, PBR Street Gang, you know, all the Basics residents who've gone on to have amazing careers, Burnski. Like, it was this hub of music, really, and obviously everyone was trying to outdo each other, because there was, everyone was playing records and they go trying out. Have you heard this? So we were at the after party. Jamie said, I'm starting the label. I was like, right, cool. So I sent him a tune which originally came out on Hot Waves. The first thing I signed with him was he had a sub-label called Hot Waves. I think it was only around for the first 3 years. Signed a track to that. So that got me in the door, which I then started getting gigs off that, because it was like it was just timing wise, it was like that trajectory where Jamie just went like that. And it was the same time Damien Lazarus had it with Crosstown Rebels. You had like art department, Seth Troxler, everyone just took off at the same time. So I was associated to that, and then did a track called Ultraviolet, which came out, and that just blew up. And then it was like internationally, it just went poof. So it was.
What was live fire like after that?
It was just you basically, you're living your dream. You know, like even though I'd been lucky and I'd played out a lot, but a lot of that was regional UK stuff. I'd done like Ibiza, like I say, the odd gig, gone and played Germany, Poland, stuff like that, Portugal. But I'd never done the full touring, the like constantly touring thing. So it was like, where one week I'd be in Russia, then I'd be in Miami, then I'd be in, you know, it was literally darting.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh mate, I love it. It's my happiest time is when I'm touring. I just love it, and I don't take a minute of it for granted. Like I've been so lucky as well to do it, for like have such a good stint, and yeah, it's just great fun. I mean, it's knackering.
This is nice to hear, because I've heard some people say they've had enough of it.
Don't get me wrong. I've got, like, I'm sure we'll get onto it. I'm in a bit of a transitional. I've got a new project that's going to be launching, so I'm not as busy now. Deliberately, I've stopped taking gigs for the foreseeable because I'm concentrating on this. But which, don't get me wrong, it's been really nice to do.
You've done it now, though.
Yeah, I do. I do miss. I mean, I've been so lucky that, look, when I set out to DJ, I was staring at my bedroom wall, just dreaming that was a club. All I wanted to do was play like Shindig in Newcastle, the Empire in Middlesbrough, Back to Basics, Ministry of Sound, because that was huge at the time, and doing Essential Mix and Mix a Global Underground, and I've done it all, you know. So it's like what I set out to do originally, and way more stuff, you know, with the essential new tunes and the, you know, the chart positions and stuff like that, and working with so many heroes as well. Like that's what I mean, is like I just live in my own reality. I just can't. I'm so lucky. What I ever set out to do.
So young as well.
I know. Well, that's the other thing as well. So it's like I'd kind of done it all by the time I'd hit 40, you know, and it was like I'd reached a lot of my goals. So it's like, yeah, this new project is super exciting, to be honest.
Tell me about the new project.
So the new project is a duo. It's going to be a live thing that I'm doing with Aidan Lavelle. It's going to be launching this year. We've written an album. We've spent 2.5 years writing an album. It's a little bit Chemical Brothers, a little bit Camel Fat, a little bit Fortet, kind of a mixture of all of it. And then we're going to start doing it live. So we just, it's a new,
as in performing live Ableton with equipment and tell me about it. I've just done a podcast with
we're literally just putting it all together now. So it's going to be on we're both going to be on Ableton, and then there's going to be some drum machines and stuff like that, and then we've worked with loads of different vocalists. We've got some really kind of big management who are starting to push us, which I can't say too much about. It's not official, but they're kind of guiding us at the minute. And man, it's just super exciting.
The sort of stuff that, I mean, because when Satek says live, he says you might hear the same elements of music, but it will never be in the same order.
Yeah, that's it. So we're gonna be like recreating live, doing exclusive things. A little bit like what Bicep do live.
I love all that. I just think it's so advanced and it's different because obviously Joseph Satek, he's never been a DJ ever.
Yeah,
you know, he's never put 2 records together. All he's done has been a live artist. And the conversations I have with him are fantastic, and the music he creates is just awesome. And I just find it mind blowing. Has it taken you a long time to adjust to performing like that?
Well, we're just kind of we're just putting it together now, so it's like it's not even finished. This is literally right in the thick of it at the minute. So it's we're just kind of ironing out exactly, because obviously you've got to stem all the tunes out. Then what we're doing as well is we're adapting it so because obviously touring full live is quite costly now, especially post Brexit and stuff like that. So we're also toning it down where it'll be like a semi-live hybrid kind of, where we can go into a nightclub and play off laptops, all synced up, like what I said, what Danny Tenaglia does. But what we'll be doing is live remixing basically on the fly and stuff.
Because there is so many ways you can do it.
Absolutely. So we're just ironing it all out at the minute. So it's really exciting. Like the music, I think the music is the best music I've ever been involved with. It's proper rave, like yeah. So it's really exciting. So that's watch this space.
Who are you aiming at? What sort of audiences do you think you're going to be going for?
It's just going to be, I think it's going to be across. It's like there's definitely there's some big vocal stuff. So you could imagine it on Radio 1, but not like full commercial. Do you know what I mean? But I think there is some crossover appeal. But then there's some absolute banging techno ravey tracks. You know,
love it.
Yeah, it's something for everyone. It's something for the masses. For sure, it's definitely for big stages, which is what I was saying. My DJing I've never felt was so much for big stages, but this is
didn't want it for big stages, did you?
Yeah, it was like it would never. I was always, in clubs. Clubs like the Empire, perfect for me. Like Coco, I love a venue like that. It's just perfect.
I'm not a big venue person. Amnesia, obviously, love it.
Yeah,
love it. But that's as big.
Yeah, but Ibiza clubs are very, very different. So.
Yeah, but festivals. I'm not a big fan.
I like a boutique festival, so I like something that's like Lost Village or something like that that's in the woods.
I was thinking about some of those the other day. Was it Goodwood and
Gotwood. Gotwood's amazing. I've played there.
And some of these smaller boutique festivals were amazing before COVID, and then they collapsed around COVID, and a few of them haven't come through. And it's
Gotwood's still doing it. And, that's an amazing festival. And what I love about them is that they've got what they do. They don't want to scale it. Whereas a lot of festivals go, right, well, we've done this. Let's put an extra 5,000 on next year. They don't do it. It's like, this is it. This is what it is. And it's just curated amazingly. Yeah,
I was thinking of Goodwood.
It's the
motor festival. Then that's
to be fair, Carl Cox is there all the time. It's up the road from me.
Yeah, I'm a petrol head, so that's where it all mixed up. Love it. But so yeah, talking of Radio 1.
Yeah,
you did the Essential Mix.
Yes.
How many times have you done that?
So I've done one Essential Mix, but then I think I've done like 8 or 10 mixes across all the shows. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
You were young doing that though, weren't you? As well.
So I did the Essential Mix. It was 10 years ago. And then I've done various mixes over the years. So the first time I was on Radio 1 was the Trophy Twins show.
Okay.
So that's going back.
I was speaking with Paul Glasby about the Trophy Twins last week.
I'd love to see. I haven't seen them for years, Mark and Adam, and we used to play all the time. Like we would just.
They got their name.
I probably do, but yeah, go and remind me.
It's in my latest podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in my.
Be sure to check in, guys.
Yeah, the tab or the little card thing will come down now. He was with them on a Tidy. Mark was Tidy, or
Mark? So Mark used to work in the office for Tidy Tracks.
He was looking after Paul.
Yeah,
Paul Glasby went to bed in a hotel. They were mildly intoxicated.
Yeah,
and they've stolen a trophy from downstairs in the reception or something like this.
I do know this story, yeah.
Burst into Paul's room and woken him up. And Paul, you don't wake Paul up apparently. And he's got to get the fuck out. And they've put I think he said I obviously have to check the podcast out. I think they put the trophy in the cupboard and gingerly got out of Paul's room. And from the day after, they called themselves the Trophy Twins. I think everyone called them it or something like that. But how bizarre! I love it. Do these podcasts because they all kind of interlink.
Yeah,
but, check it out.
I will do. Yeah,
Paul goes through the story in detail, and only come out 2 nights ago. So you were on their show.
I was on their show. They had a show on radio. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like they used to. It was a residency anyway that they.
It was
had.
when they were doing Judgment.
Yes.
Yeah. With Jules, and they were doing the back room.
Yeah, because I played with Jules. I played there. That was my. Yeah, I played with them for Jules at Judgment. I also did Kanye for Judgment Sundays for the pool
What
party
a wicked back room, wasn't it? All the workers.
Eden was incredible. It was. But yeah, I loved. I tell you what, I also loved the back room of Savannah. I always loved that.
Isn't it a great little venue? It's reopening this year.
Yeah, it was just.
I don't know if they kept the club.
I'd love that club room. I used to love it in there. So.
Sean Hughes and all those guys.
Danny Kelly.
Yes.
John Kelly's son used to play in there, didn't he?
Yeah. No, that is. What was it? What it used to be called? Savannah's. Had a name for it.
It was just those workers' parties. Because I lived there in Ibiza in 2005, so it was like I used to.
Yeah, because it was the same as we were doing the slut parties, and they were doing some things down there as well. Sean
and there was the what was it? The shit parties.
The shit parties, yeah. Oh, they were great. They're great. Again, stuff that you just wouldn't do nowadays.
Yeah,
because
I mean, I loved Ibiza that summer, 2005.
Smartphones. I mean, I think most would have been banged up or sectioned. Or something, but the unfortunate thing about a lot of the events now is we could get away with so much then because it wasn't recorded. And I remember with the shit party in particular, we used to have they used to film it.
Was that at the zoo?
The zoo, it was.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
And they did a live showing of the video in the Golden Gate.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, and the Golden Gate was packed, hundreds of workers just to watch this video. You know, everybody doing shit that were like, oh my god, you know.
I think it's really sad that that's not there in Ibiza now due to Brexit, because the workers, you know, that so many of us were kind of. I mean, I went to the summer and slept on an apartment, my friend's apartment, so round from Kanye. Do you remember there were those modern? There was like modern flat. I can't remember what they were called, with the green glass balconies. There was like just round from Kanye, round the beach, and like just over a bit.
I know the area very well.
Yeah, it was just there. So we stayed there.
And I know what you mean.
I slept on Lilo on my mate's floor for the summer, and it was like just when we're going to Coastline every day, hanging out. So
I used to crash out sometimes on my mate's sofa, and then I think John from Buccaneers used to come back. And he used to show me, get out of my bed, because that was his bed. You know, it was the sofa. And back then, the no one gave a shit because even the accommodation wasn't tremendously expensive then. No, it's just like we didn't really go there to sleep.
That was it. As long as you had somewhere to put your stuff, like have a shower, and it was just crazy. Like you were out all the time. But youth was on the side as well.
Yeah,
you could do it then.
My first place, we had dormitories, men's and girls. It was above Strikers Bar. Do you remember Strikers?
Oh, yeah.
That was they've now built like a big extension of it, a big 3 stories, but it used to be a big 2-level apartment. And upstairs, Billy was the guy who rented it out. 2 huge rooms. There was one girls' dormitory, one boys, and there's like 7 or 8 of us in one of them, and 7 or 8 girls. All of our stuff there, nothing ever went missing. You know, we all had a laugh, and there was everyone from Manumission worked there and worked downstairs, and it was just so easy going because everyone was there for a reason, to have a really, really good time. And
I made so many friends as well. I've still got in contact with my mates now from that summer.
Yeah. And you speak to them forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your first ever Ibiza trip?
That was in 2002 with my best mate.
Good year.
Best mate Tim Weeks. And we had the best week of our lives, and then we've been back. He's still my best mate. He still comes to all my gigs pretty much.
Wow.
We're off to New York actually this weekend.
Lucky bastard. I want to go there.
He's coming with me. Yes, me and my missus, he's third wheeling, but he's just like, he's like Joey from Friends. You just got to take him with you.
Do you still go raving?
I do. I'm actually going this week. So it's my birthday this weekend, and we are heading to the Twilo reunion.
Okay.
With Denney, which will be good. But I I've been that lucky to go around the world and go to some of the best raves that I'm very, very picky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I mean, listen, I love. There's nothing more I still love getting on the dance floor, and it's very rare because you get pulled in. Obviously, you know so many people, so you end up in the green rooms and like just chatting shit, missing it. And my missus, bless her, she just wants to dance, you know. And it's like I do sometimes feel bad, but at the same time, this is my job. But this weekend, I'm getting on that dance floor for 8 hours. Listen to my favorite DJ.
What's your favorite club in Ibiza? Obviously, you got your DC10s, you got your Amnesias. It's going to be one of those, isn't it?
My favorite club was Space, and you know what? I never played Space.
No,
it was the club that got. I never played it for some reason. It just never happened, and it was like, it was.
Maybe it was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to just to be to enjoy the experience.
And do you know what? That's what it is. I've got nothing but like fond memories. And I went to Coxey's last night. So not the actual closing of Space, but no, the closing of Coxey's night where he played all night. And that was unbelievable. And that was like it was just the perfect thing for me to go, do you know what? That's one of the best nights I've ever had in that club. And I was like,
we used to get there all the time on the Tuesday. It was just,
mate, it's those Sundays at Space. It was just incredible, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a tragedy that it got changed.
Well, I've never been in High.
Nor have I.
I've never been in Ushuaia.
Nor have I.
I've never walked in. I've been to the old Ushuaia that was up the beach.
Yeah. Me too.
The little beach party, but I've never.
Sven Vath was doing an after party there, and me and Lizzie went there, and it was purely by accident. We didn't even know it was on. But we used to go to Bossa quite a lot just to get out of San Ann, and we were just walking up the beach, and it was just going off up there. So we joined in for a couple of hours and went back to San Ann and went to work.
It's great, obviously, because I had a residency at Viva Warriors for 4 years.
Sankey's,
yes. And that was amazing. But yeah, I mean, I've played DC10, I've played both rooms DC10, played Amnesia, played Privilege, played Eden, played all pretty much all the big clubs really.
What was it like when you were first asked to play DC10? I bet that was a buzz.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, when I did the Terrace,
who was it for?
Paradise.
So
it was I found out an hour before because Dan Eats Everything's flight had got cancelled, so he couldn't do it. So then I was given an extra hour and moved from the inside onto the terrace.
Oof.
So it was like I played like 2.5, 3 hours or something on the terrace. It was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I do love that place. And it's another place I haven't been back for a long time.
Yeah, I do.
I'm a bit scared to go back there, to be honest, because when my last time I went there, it was DC10 when it was open all day long. You know, it was that long ago. It was before the 4:30 they're allowed to open. So and I know it's now become very in vogue with being cool and stuff like that.
Well, it is. The music policy's changed for Circoloco and stuff. I mean, that being said, one of the best nights I've ever had in that club was, do you remember in 2008 or 9 where it only opened for one night, and because the licensing,
they had a problem, didn't they? Yes,
it was. They were. I think they were trading on a restaurant license.
Piano hall.
Yeah, it was like a restaurant license. It was meant to have a cafe or something. And they opened, and it was everyone thought it was the last one, so it was like that opening closing party, and we went to that. We were like first in, last out, and it was perfect. Man.
One of the best nights I've ever been to, which is weird, was a Circoloco night at Privilege.
Really?
It was yet again DC10 had problems with its license, and it got shut down. I think it was the end of the summer, so they moved to the room that you played in.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Circoloco.
Yeah, and it was the Circoloco and the bigger side room.
Yeah, it was the biggest side. The Circoloco one was the one with the tree, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. But it was in there. The music was coming through. They didn't have a DJ in there, but they just had this one red light.
Yeah.
And they put Circoloco in there for the evening, and it was right at the end of the summer, and all of the workers went. And it was a fucking mess. But I tell you what, it was brilliant.
Yeah. What's that room called? I played in there for Solid Grooves.
I'm going to really...
El Rose started in there as well.
I'm going to really kick myself. Solid Grooves was definitely there, Music Box. Is it Music Box?
No, wasn't that in Space, the little room?
God. We're going to get berated.
It begins
in the
with
comments.
an S, I'm sure.
We're going to get berated in the comments now, aren't we? But
know,
anyway, I'll put the thing over the.
We're showing our age now,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. But or we're just far too messy to understand. But,
I know.
Manumission used to have a lot of stuff going on in there. Like they used to have the streets were in there and things like that. And I can't remember what it's called because Shine started there.
Yeah,
if you remember, and Tiesto, and he had Nick Ferguson was doing the.
That was it. That's what, because I went and played in there.
Yep. And but anyway, yeah. Some of the weirdest nights have been some of the best nights have always been the unexpected ones.
Yeah.
So do you play at Pikes at all? And places like that?
I do, yeah. I've had quite a long history with Pikes now.
Have you?
So
okay.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite. That room. Do you know what? I'd actually go and say that is my favourite room on the island, Freddie's. It's just, it captures what I class the true spirit of Ibiza, what it was. Like, I know people say how much the island's changed and all this kind of thing, but I think it still feels, it still has that element of that. I think probably because it's not really been touched, it still looks very much like it always did, but you've got that element of pure hedonism, and there's just an energy in that place. There's like, you know how when you walk in buildings like old theatres and there's like, you can feel an energy in there. Yeah, it's just, from a DJ perspective, it's unbelievable to play in that room.
I love Pikes. And I think when you're saying about authentic Ibiza, that's why I love Amnesia.
Yeah, well, Amnesia is still the same, you know.
That main room. Everyone's always going on about Terrace. I love that main room.
Yeah,
I just think it's.
I do miss the fact they haven't got that VU meter under the booth now. I love that being under the booth.
The synthesizer. The thing is, I suppose when these venues are developing, they don't know how iconic something is until it's gone.
It's like the yellow seat of space, isn't it? The tube. But that's still kicking around somewhere, isn't it?
It looks an all right mess, doesn't it?
If I can imagine.
But could you imagine how much money, say, the Manumission decor's worth on eBay, or just all of this stuff if it was kept, and all the stuff that was thrown out?
Mate, I've been trying to find. So there's those Ibiza Club posters on eBay.
Yes, I know the guy who runs it.
Yeah, I've been trying to find the poster because I never got one of me when I was meant to play at Manumission. I've been keeping my eye on it for years, trying to get the artwork.
Do you know who designed it?
Who was it?
I don't know, but
do I know? No.
Because how I've found to hunt down old stuff is find the original designers, because some of them are really they keep all their stuff.
Yeah,
and if ever people want any of our posters, and I don't send it to them, I send them the file. I go to the printers. So that's how I've always found older stuff, is find the original graphic designer. And I've done it for Gods. I've managed to find the stuff and old photos and images, and find the original photographers. And they've got them. They've got them all. Like my designer, Jake Davis, who does all of our graphic design. I've got to give him a shout out as well, because he doesn't get enough credit. And I've worked with him 15 years, and he's done all of our artwork. If I can ask for something from 15 years ago, and he'll pull out the file in like 30 seconds.
Amazing.
But I don't know whether they're all like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously we talked about the good parts. What about the hardest parts of your career? You've had any difficult periods?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got stung with a huge tax bill after that nearly sent me under, which is a story that happens so much that people don't really talk about. Like, so many DJs this has happened to.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm not aware. Tell me, what is it? Is it because you weren't aware of how you were meant to pay?
Yeah, I mean, it was my account. Basically, my accountant said it would be this much, and then it ended up being more than double what we thought it was going to be. And then it was like, I had my living costs at the time were excruciating as well. I was living in London and I was living in Kensington, a really expensive part. And yeah, it got really tough and tight, you know, and it was like, because you're having to back pay all this, and then you're having to pay your outgoings as well, you know, so it's like, that got tough. Things started getting on the slide a little bit. Obviously you go, and then it kind of comes down, as you know, it's very rare you stay right up there.
How did you feel? How did your mental state go when it started coming down?
Mate, I wasn't in a good way.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. With a lot of DJs.
Yeah, I wasn't in a good way. It's all but do you know what, mate? I wouldn't change any of it because it's all lessons, and it's like where I am now is I don't let anything bother me. Where I'd be like, what? Why am I not on doing this gig? Why am I not on that lineup? Why are people not getting back to me? I just don't give a fuck now. It's like I just like I said, I do what I do. I know, excuse me, I know who are the true people in the industry, you know, in terms of friends and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of bullshit and there's a lot of fakeness and there's a lot of hangers on, and you know, and it's when you're blowing up and you've got like loads of stuff going on, everyone wants a piece of you. There's everyone's, you know, and then when you start going through a trough, these people kind of disperse, and it's like what's interesting is there's a handful of people in the industry, and they're all really well known DJs, and there's still people that checked in with me like during COVID, stuff like that, like would ring me up, and you know, they're the ones that I really think, you know, these are solid friends. Whereas then there's a load of other ones that were kind of, you know, I would not class them being anywhere as near as busy as the people that kind of got in touch with me that you just don't hear from. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of falseness and there's a lot of bollocks. And
I have to explain this to people I work to quite a lot, because when they're experiencing new success, all of a sudden, the jealousy of other people will come in, and then they'll stop getting phone calls from people that they regarded as friends.
Yeah, it's a funny old world.
Yeah, it's a very funny industry as well. And then when you're on a downward slide, people are just you could become bitter and things like that.
Well, that's what it is, and it's like I see so much of that on Facebook, especially. There's so many bitter DJs, like old. They specifically seem to be like white male, middle-aged DJs, and they're like it's just constant barrage of negativity. You know, it's like obviously unhappy with how
their career's
gone, and it's like, you know, some of them, if you put the energy into trying to do something good for the scene, like put some music out, you know, do something, help some artists, do something that, rather than just constantly trying to bring people down just because of your unhappiness. And it's, you know, some of it's like, I read some of it and there's certain pages that are like, you know, shitty tabloid press from The Sun or something like that, but in dance music. And it's like digging up all these, trying to dig up skeletons and shit stir and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know. I haven't.
And God forbid you start becoming successful.
Well, that's what it is. And it's just like, you know, I think the thing now is I've got such a great close knit group of people. That's my advice. I would say, just surround yourself with the real, true people. That's so important. More than anything, just support yourself. Get yourself a good lawyer, and then get yourself a good music lawyer, and just surround yourself with the best people. And that's all you can do, you know. And then and also don't be scared to go home from the after party. That's my other advice. I wish if I could tell one bit of advice to my younger self, it would be like, because I was just staying out, you know, just to avoid going home.
I had to be the last one out. I mean, that's why I had a drink problem in the end. It was just because I could not handle the fact that I was going to miss out on anything. And I was terrible. Days and days, and then wonder why I was so ill.
It is. I call them casualties of the scene. I think we're lucky because, I mean, luckily for me, I've never got to that stage. I've hit it pretty hard at times.
It's because your creativity has stopped it.
Oh yeah, and I've not really ever had an addictive personality. I've been I've got this weird switch where I can just, if something I say no, I just go the other way.
Okay.
And I can just turn things, like with people as well. You know, if I'm like, you've crossed the line, I can literally cut them out and never think about them again.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's a good, it's pretty brutal skill to have.
I'm like a Pringle. You know, once I pop, I can't stop. You know, especially with alcohol, drugs, all that lot, but. There is definitely I have that addictive personality, but alcohol, I'm good at drinking. So but I haven't drunk for almost 10 years now. So
well, good for you.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, we see so many people, and you know, the sad thing as well is lost so many people.
Yeah.
Like lost so many people, especially through like suicides and stuff like that. Because it's really obviously we're just seeing now the effects
of
that this like
ecstasy and stuff from coming out
all
now.
of this scene that we never knew about, and it's fucking scary and it's sad. And there's the thing that breaks my heart is there's obviously people had the best time of their lives going to these clubs and being in these circles where you're out and you're getting on it and you're just with your mates all the time and you're just dancing, you know, when you're young. And those people can't let that go. And it's like, then when they kind of, as everyone's getting older and they're starting to have kids, they can't let that go. And I've lost so many people that haven't been able to like adjust back into society, if you know what I mean. They really struggle with it.
You have to strip yourself back and build yourself again, especially when you're coming from. That's what the 12 steps are built for, basically. But I've had Madders on. I've actually got another episode with him.
Yeah, I saw that episode.
He's amazing. But I've got another episode with him on Sunday. This coming out, we did 2 parts. The second part's much more about his recovery and what he does now.
Which, you know, it goes to show if someone, because like I say, I was around at that time, and I was in the Marriott in Leeds with Madders and after Essential and Denney and all them, and if he can turn it round, this is like if anyone's struggling at the minute, if someone like that can turn that life around, anything is possible, you know?
Absolutely. He says he was put on this earth to be the person he was to now help people.
Yeah.
Because 20-year crack habit.
I know,
and he's only been sober, he's been sober 9 years, so he got sober at 51. So even if you're in your 40s and 50s and you're struggling, there is still, and he loves his work now. He can't wait to get to work because he's helping those people that originally helped him. But we were also discussing the same sort of thing, that back then everything was so new that we were shoving everything into us, but our memories are fucked because the long-term damage of that is definitely there. I mean, they were saying about it in the 90s that it would have long-term damage on mental health, and it obviously a lot of that was scare tactics from the papers trying to put people off doing millions of ecstasy tablets every weekend so people drink more alcohol. You know, obviously we all know that that's a no-brainer. But if there was, I am pretty 100% sure that my memory has been affected by MDMA and the dance scene over the years and things like that, and alcohol.
It's all of it as well, mate. It's, you know,
and depression and things like
lack
that,
of sleep, and you know, everything,
malnutrition.
Dehydration, all of it. It's just like, you know, we're not eating for days and
doing it for years. I mean, we got to remember we were the generation that were doing it every weekend, not just for one night.
No,
sometimes the third night, you know, like you were talking about the Sunday mass.
Yeah.
We did that going to Monday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what 4 and 4 Club used to do. So we used to be out Friday maybe, but Saturday, definitely Strawberries, sunny side up. Then we go to 4 and 4 Club till Monday morning. Then I used to go to university.
It's crazy. It's berserk. I mean, even we used to go down to Leeds on a Wednesday, drive down from Middlesbrough, because they had Rob Tessera and Jez and Charlie used to do Space on a Wednesday.
Easy.
So it's like we'd go drive down and do that, drive an hour down and do that on a Wednesday as well.
Garden Club used to be open on a Monday evening.
It's
in Covent Garden, and then I was in the student world. So were you. Wednesdays were really big drinking days and party days, weren't they? And the weekends were like when people used to go home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's when we used to go out raving. But so we used to have at Middlesex University, there was 5 campuses, 5 nightclubs, and they were all operating different things on different days. So we couldn't get away from it because we didn't have mobile phones.
I'm sure you were the same as me. I was so immersed in the culture of it. I mean, going back to when I was a kid, like I looked pretty young, but I could get in the Empire because of the connections I had there. But I mean, everything. I don't know if you remember, there was a TV show on Sky One called Cream, and it was like it was 99 going into 2000, and I used to video that. I would video MTV when they were in Ibiza. Like I was just obsessed with the whole scene of it, you know.
And you could recognize what sort of music people were into by the way they dressed.
It was, exactly.
You know, the bomber jackets and this and that. And I absolutely loved it. I want to ask you something. If
Cool.
you could relive like one night in your career, what would it be?
In terms of me DJing, or in terms of me on a dance floor?
Just in the rave, just in life in general. Have you had a particular moment that stood out for you?
Yeah, I would go back to the Sugar Shack when it was in its heyday. And there was a night where Roger Sanchez played around Christmas, and he played, he started with Thomas Bangalter together, and he played Alan Brax had just come out, but he played for the first time. He just finished Another Chance, and he played it for his last song, and it was like the first time he actually played it in the UK. And it was, but that night he DJ'd, and it was the most incredible set that I'd ever, in terms of a house music set, that I'd ever, my memory of it anyway.
Marco Loco, you know Marco Loco?
Yeah.
He said the same thing about him at Space. He said that because he saw Roger play his final set at Space.
Yeah.
Because Marco was obviously resident there. Roger was the last person he ever saw play. He wasn't there for the closing, and he said it was the best set he'd ever seen.
He's just I mean, I had lunch with him last week. He's just like, I'm really close with Roger, but no one for me could touch him technically, you know, with his 3 decks and everything. And he was just so inspirational. And he's like, this is what I mean. It's like, you get all these young jumped up kids now that have got huge egos. And it's like, that guy's won Grammys. He's, you know, had #1 records. He has been the epitome of a professional DJ. You know, he's been started off going to the Paradise Garage, come out in New York. He's done the lot, but there's just no ego there. And it's like, you can sit there and talk to him. He gives you the best advice. And it's like, I just think if everyone in the world had that kind of attitude and vibe in this industry, it would be a lot better place.
I remember him strolling up the West End a lot. Yeah, you know, in Ibiza. He used to eat. Do you remember Jamel's?
Yeah,
he used to eat at Jamel's.
I mean, he's always been a foodie, Roger. He's
Jamel's was amazing anyway. And last tune of the night. What would that be? What would be a? This is the one that always kills DJs. Sometimes I get a really quick answer. Others I get the face that you're pulling.
Oh, do you know what? I should have prepared this. You see, half of me thinks, do I go for a dance music one? Do I go, do you know what I'm going to say? Because it's just popped in my head and I've not heard it for years, and it totally works, and it kind of because we've been talking about like the old days. I'm going to say Cosmos, Take Me With You.
Okay.
Which was like, that was in a bit, it reminds me very much of Space. No, I'm going to change that.
You can pick a few, don't worry.
I'm going to go Random Factor. I can't remember what the track's called, but it's the Silicon Soul dub that came out on 2020 Vision, and it's on one of the early Circoloco CDs.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously I've got such a close connection with 2020 Vision through the Basics, Ralph Lawson, the Basics thing. I'm going to go that because that track's amazing.
Is it the original Circoloco DC-10 ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I had all of those.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know where to find that then.
Yeah, so it's the, I'll send it over to you. It's the Silicon Soul dub, and it's of Random Factor.
We played those on
It's called a Hypno dub, something like that.
Hypno dub. Okay, yeah. We play. As I said to a lot of people as well, we never remember the names of the tunes from back then.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean,
especially
I've got
DC-10.
so much. I'm looking at all my vinyl here, and I know exactly where it is in the rack. So.
This has been such a good chat, Denney.
Mate, it's been great.
Really, really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you very much, my friend, and I'll see you in Ibiza.
Great to see you. Take care, mate. See you then.
Take care, buddy.